Queen Charge Hybrid at Town Hall 11. What kind of things should you target? What kind of pathing should you create? All of that right here in this video. Welcome back to the Clash Tips YouTube channel. Big thanks to Chaos Esports for letting me partake in their Town Hall 11 WCL blockage match. This week they took on the Juggernaut clan family of OneHive using their Black Label clan, and these guys are amazing at Queen Charge Hybrid. One of the things that you should know as you're watching some of these attacks is that super troops are not allowed. That is part of the blockage rules for that specific league. So if you notice, for example, regular wall breakers being used rather than super wall breakers, and you're shouting at the screen saying, it'd be so much easier if you just use a super wall breaker. Well, now you know the reason. And it makes it interesting because it harkens back to the days before we had super wall breakers. I know myself, I use super wall breakers and take them for granted a lot of the times. Now, there are some similarities between all of these attacks, and I want to try to point them out to you so that you can look for those same similarities whenever you're using Queen Charge Hybrid at Town Hall 11. It is a super powerful attack, and the first similarity that I notice is whenever they Queen Charge in all of their Queen Charge Hybrid attacks, they always 100% of the time go for the Eagle. As a newbie to Town Hall 11, I was always wondering, well, what do I target with my Queen Charge? If I want to use a Queen Charge Hybrid attack, then what do I go after? Do I go after the Queen? Do I go after the CC? Do I go after the Town Hall? And the most important defense that you can go after whenever you're doing Queen Charge Hybrid is the Eagle, because if the Eagle targets a big pack of your Hogs and Miners, then it is going to be game over for those troops. Even if your hybrid is underneath a heal spell, of course, if it's underneath the Warden's Tome, you're going to be invincible. You don't have to worry about those Eagle shots or those Eagle hits raining down on your troops. But if you can get the Eagle out of the way with, then you won't have to worry about a big chunk of your troops dying off too quickly. The second thing that I noticed is you create the L pathing, and any of you who've been playing Clash of Clans for any length of time, you know that this is standard. Whenever you do a hybrid, you try to carve out a path, not necessarily going for any specific defense except for the Eagle, and in this case again, we see the Queen Charge going directly for the Eagle. But also with that Queen Charge, you want to carve out the pathing so that way your hybrid can all travel together as a pack. When they travel together as a pack, they can take advantage of heals that you're able to place down on the base. They can take advantage of the Warden Tome as long as you use it before all of the troops spread out. And each of these attacks does that just a tad bit differently. But the one thing that is the same is they all go for the Eagle and they all create that L pathing. I'm going to draw on the screen that way you can kind of see what I'm talking about, just in case you're not exactly getting it or I'm not doing a great job explaining it. And hopefully those lines and those arrows will help describe the process a little better. So if this is an attack strategy that you're trying to learn, then this is something that you can learn to do and do very effectively. The third thing that I learned with all of these attacks is the attackers over funnel for the Queen. We all know that the Queen has a mind of her own sometimes. She likes to go places that we don't want her to go. So if you make sure that buildings, that resource collectors, that archer towers, all of those are taken down before the Queen can target them, then you know that she'll go the direction that you actually want her to go. We are going to show an attack towards the end of the video where the Queen was trying to target that Eagle, because again, the Eagles with a target 100% of the time try to go for the Eagle. We're going to show how the attacker made the adjustments in the attack to make sure that the Eagle will go down, so that way their hybrid was not targeted and they were still able to get that triple. Another thing to notice with all of these hybrid attacks is the spacing of the heals and the Warden Tome. Almost all of these attacks take 2 heal spells, and so if you place 1 heal spell down and then use your other heal spell, you can use your Warden Tome as essentially a 3rd heal spell. Of course, it's not going to heal up your troops, it only protects your troops, but it's something to consider whenever you're doing your attacks. Also, up to this point, you should have seen the lines and the arrows that I put down to kind of show that L-shaped pattern that you want your hybrid to go down. If you don't do a great job with your Queen Charge of making sure that that pattern is carved out, then your hybrid won't stay together nice and tight, and you won't get the value that you could have achieved by keeping them tight, by keeping them together, by using your heal spells effectively, by using your Warden Tome effectively, and hopefully this video can help you out. Another thing that I have not yet pointed out in this video is each of these queen charges are able to get down the clan castle. Getting down the clan castle is not as important because if you have a ground-based clan castle, then your hybrid can take care of it, those miners. Also, these attackers do not focus on getting the queen. If you can get the queen in your queen charge, the enemy queen that is, then that's great, but also your miners can take care of it. I zoomed in on the Barb King right here specifically because you see that gold mine and how it's set up. That was a beautiful piece of base building. In the future, I hope to do a video on Town Hall 11 base building as well as some other Town Hall levels, so that way you can get an idea of effective strategies and using base building techniques to try to prevent the 3-star, because defense is just as important in offense whenever you're coming into some of these Town Hall 11 leagues. But I digress. The queen has gotten down the eagle. The queen has taken care of the CC. The queen has created this really nice L-shaped pattern so that the hybrid can go directly down. And then also something that I failed to point out until this point is each of these attacks uses a siege machine. Now, when you use a siege machine, you want to place it on the opposite side of the hybrid, so that way that P.E.K.K.A. and those wizards can make sure that that hybrid stays nice and tight, because I can't emphasize enough, keeping your hybrid together and not letting them spread out all over the base is what's going to make or break your hybrid attacks. If you're going to be doing some no siege competitions, then that could be a little more difficult if you don't have that siege barracks in order to make sure that your hybrid stays nice and tight. But also, no siege leagues are extremely difficult to do. You can funnel your hybrid in with your king, maybe a few wizards in behind your king, but that's something to consider as well if you are doing something that is no siege based. Again, just to harp on the points with this specific attack, queen is going after the eagle. The queen is over funneled by those baby dragons, but this is another great base building technique where those little sections, those little corners, encourage the queen not to go in after the eagle, which is her primary target, but actually sends her down the side. Now, the attacker does attempt to send her back in, but something else that the attacker has to do if the queen actually does go in is that Inferno Tower beams, they will completely roast the healers, and so that's something to consider as well. This is a really awesome example of making changes on the fly to ensure that that eagle goes down by sending in the Barb King. Also, one wizard, because if any skelly traps had popped right around that eagle, then that wizard could take care of them and that king could move on and take care of the eagle, making sure that everything goes down that you want to get down before you actually send in the hybrid. Again, here too, making sure that that CC goes down. Those witches could have wreaked havoc on that hybrid. And again, if you fail to get the CC down, it's not the end of the world. Use your poisons effectively. The miners can take care of the ground troops. You're going to have issues if you have loons in that CC or a dragon in that CC, so definitely consider that. But also, it's not the end of the world if you're not able to get the CC down. So don't panic. Just keep according to the plan. That queen created a nice tight L funnel, created a nice shape so that that hybrid could go down. He could use all of his heal spells. He could use his tome. One thing that I noticed earlier that was interesting was he decided to use a rage on the top of his heal, and that's typically done to get your hybrid through a high damage area, and you see that a lot of times underneath the Warden's Tome. This time the attacker actually used it underneath the heal, and it worked out genius. It was a beautiful triple. Now, this last attack, I want to make sure that you watch because I found it super intriguing because the eagle is in the center. And on a base like this, sometimes you don't choose hybrid. On bases like this, a lot of times you'll choose an attack strategy such as Lalo. Since you can Lalo around the outside, you can maybe do a Skelly Donut or something similar on the eagle that's inside. But Lucas actually comes in here and does a hybrid and does it absolutely beautifully. Again, he is over funneling, making sure that queen goes inside the base. If your queen starts to stray, you're going to have to be coming up with ways that you can get the queen back inside the base to make sure she gets the value that you want her to get. Also, to create that pathing so that way your hybrid can go down that L shape and they're not going to be spread all over the base. I guess they could be sprayed all over the base too. I don't know that I would use that as an adjective to describe the hybrid. Sprayed all over the base, spread all over the base. They mean the same thing. But once that queen is in the middle, He tries to use wall breakers to get that queen down and further in the base, but does not work. Again, it's more difficult with regular wall breakers than super wall breakers, but then places that jump down to ensure that the queen can get to the eagle. The eagle's going to be her ultimate goal. Again, here's the siege machine, putting that siege machine on the side. You can see the lines, this nice tight path that your hybrid can go down, and then here comes the queen, eventually taking out the eagle. Now, one trick that he uses on this is that he uses the king in conjunction with the siege machine. He does not use the king to funnel with the queen. A lot of times you'll see attackers who will say, oh, I'll just use my king and he'll funnel for my queen. That way I don't have to use the 10 space baby dragon. But if you hold on to that king, then whenever that eagle is ready to target, that eagle will actually target the king and will not start to target your hybrid. Unfortunately, in this case, the eagle does start to target the hybrid, but Lucas is there with his heal spells, making sure that all of his hybrid, all of his hogs and his miners are healed right back up, so that way they're full health whenever they come out of that heal spell. Another thing that I really liked about this attack, if you want to back it up, is he used his Warden Tome to make sure that his entire force goes through that initial section together. A lot of times it's easier, especially if eagle shots are raining down, to ensure that all of the miners and all of the hogs are up whenever that tome goes off. You can get the most benefit out of that Warden Tome, and so he uses it early and then holds his heal spells for later on in the base whenever they need it, whenever they're a little low on health and need to come out of those heal spells with full health. Hopefully this video was helpful. Again, big thanks to Chaos Esports for letting me join. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you guys next video.